This is my litRpg, and you are listening The Awakening Trials Book 1 of a litRpg novel series, The Eternal Ascent. Chapter 4. A World Transformed. I had gone to bed with the familiar sounds of the city outside my window, the low hum of traffic and distant voices lulling me into a restless sleep. But when I opened my eyes, everything was different. I was no longer in my apartment, no longer surrounded by the familiar sights and sounds of the world I knew. Instead, I found myself lying on a cold, hard surface, a rough texture of earth and roots beneath my hands. The air was crisp and cool, filled with the scent of fresh greenery, and when I sat up, the sight that greeted me took my breath away. Gone were the buildings, the streets, the mundane reality I had known. In their place stood an endless forest, trees so tall that their tops disappeared into the sky. The canopy above was a dense, interwoven mass of leaves and branches, blocking out most of the sunlight and casting the forest floor in a perpetual twilight. The trees themselves were massive, their trunks thick and gnarled, covered in rough bark that looked ancient and unyielding. They were unlike any trees I had ever seen. No oaks, no pines, no maples. These were trees from a world that wasn't mine. Trees that exuded a sense of age and power that was almost overwhelming. I stood slowly, taking in my surroundings, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The ground was uneven, covered in thick underbrush and roots that twisted and coiled like serpents. The air was still, silent except for the occasional rustle of leaves high above. There was no sign of civilization, no roads, no buildings, no people. I was alone, completely, utterly alone. My heart began to race as the reality of my situation sank in. This wasn't a dream. Everything was too vivid, too real. Cold, the roughness of the earth beneath my fingers, the dampness in the air. It was all unmistakably real. But how? How had I ended up here? What had happened to the world I knew? I turned in a slow circle, searching for any sign of familiarity, anything that might explain what had happened. But there was nothing, only the endless expanse of trees, stretching out in every direction as far as the eye could see. A surge of frustration welled up inside me. What the hell was going on? The system had integrated with me, and now I was in some kind of twisted fantasy world with no explanation, no guidance. This wasn't like the games I played where there was a tutorial, a clear set of instructions. This was real, and it was terrifying. I tried to focus, to push down the panic that threatened to overwhelm me. Panicking wouldn't help. I needed to think, to figure out what to do next. The system had given me the insight skill, but it wasn't offering any other help. No manual, no instructions, nothing, just the vague command to begin growth. But what did that even mean? I reached out with my mind, focusing on the system, trying to bring up the information window. The translucent screen appeared before me, just as it had the day before.
Name Chris, race human, level 0, strength 10, agility 10, endurance 10, intelligence 10, wisdom 10, luck 10, vitality 100, mana 50, skills, insight level 1.
The stats were the same, the information unchanged, but it offered no answers to the questions that were burning in my mind. Where was I? What had happened to the world I knew? And most importantly, how was I supposed to survive in this strange, unfamiliar place? The system remained silent, offering no further guidance. Frustration built inside me. I wanted answers, and the system wasn't giving them to me. Was this some kind of sick joke, dropped into an unknown world, with nothing but a skill that gave me information I didn't even fully understand? I dismissed the window with a wave of my hand, anger simmering just below the surface. I wasn't going to get anything useful out of the system right now, and standing around here wasn't going to solve anything either. I needed to move, figure out what I was dealing with. But where to start? My instincts told me to explore, to try and find something, anything, that could give me a clue about what was going on. But a part of me hesitated. This forest was unlike anything I had ever seen, and I had no idea what dangers might be lurking in the shadows. For all I knew, this place could be filled with creatures far more dangerous than anything I had ever encountered. But standing still wasn't an option either. I couldn't just wait here, hoping for something to happen. I needed to act, to take control of my situation, or I would be stuck here forever. I took a deep breath and started walking, choosing a direction at random. The underbrush was thick, making progress slow and difficult. The trees towered above me, their branches intertwining to form a dense canopy that blocked out most of the light. It was dark, but not pitch black. A dim, twilight gloom that made it difficult to see more than a few feet in any direction. As I walked, I kept my senses alert, listening for any sounds, watching for any movement. But the forest was eerily quiet. The only sound, the crunch of leaves and twigs underfoot. It was unsettling. This silence, unnatural, as if the forest itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. I had been walking for what felt like hours when I finally heard it. A low, growling sound that sent a shiver down my spine. I froze, straining to listen, trying to pinpoint the source of the sound. It was close, too close, and it was getting closer. Slowly, I turned, my heart pounding in my chest. My eyes scanned the shadows, searching for the source of the growl. And then I saw it, a pair of glowing eyes watching me from the darkness. Instinctively, I activated insight, focusing on the creature.
Target: feral hound. Species: beast. Level 2. Information: a common creature found in dense forests, known for its aggressive behavior and pack mentality.
Feral hound? My mind raced as I processed the information. The system had identified it as a beast, and it had a level. This wasn't just some stray dog, it was something else, something connected to the system. The hound stepped into the light, its massive form emerging from the shadows. It was larger than any dog I had ever seen, with matted fur and eyes that glowed with an unnatural light. Its teeth were bared in a snarl, saliva dripping from its jaws as it crouched low, ready to pounce. I had no weapons, no armor, nothing but my bare hands and the martial arts training I had spent years honing. But that would have to be enough. I had faced opponents before. Never like this. This was life or death, and there was no room for hesitation. The hound lunged at me, its jaws snapping shut just inches from my face. I sidestepped the attack, my training kicking in instinctively. I lashed out with a quick strike to its side, but the creature barely flinched. It was strong, far stronger than any opponent I had faced before. The hound circled me, its eyes locked on mine, searching for an opening. I could feel the adrenaline pumping through my veins, my senses sharpening. This was different from anything I had ever experienced. More intense, more real. I couldn't afford to hold back. It lunged at me again, and I met it head-on, using every ounce of strength and skill I had. The fight was brutal, each move calculated and desperate. But eventually, after what felt like an eternity, I managed to land a decisive blow. Powerful kick to the side of its head. The hound crumpled to the ground, its body twitching before going still. I stood over the fallen creature, my breath coming in ragged gasps, my body trembling with exhaustion and adrenaline. I had done it. I had defeated my first real opponent, creature of the system. But instead of feeling triumphant, all I felt was a cold, creeping realization. This was just the beginning. There would be more challenges, more creatures, more battles to fight. The system had given me a glimpse of what lay ahead, but it was up to me to find the strength to face it. As I stood there, the system chimed softly, familiar mechanical voice echoing in my mind.
You have defeated a level 2 feral hound. Essence absorbed.
Essence? What did that mean? How much had I absorbed? What could I do with it? The system remained silent, offering no further guidance. It was infuriating. So much information withheld, so little help offered. But I knew, deep down, that this was how it would be. The system wouldn't hold my hand or lead me by the nose. I would have to figure it out on my own. With a frustrated sigh, I turned and continued walking, leaving the fallen hound behind. The path to growth was a lonely one, but it was the only path I had, and I would walk it, no matter what it cost me.
Thank you for listening to the story. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to click on the like button. We will release a new chapter every 2 days.